بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله الأمين نبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهديه واستنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. I know that you have a lot of questions to be answered, and this is one of the easiest way of dodging questions is we're out of time, so and you forget about the question, but inshallah I'll try my best. After finishing hadith number 4, inshallah we will try our best to answer as many questions as possible. Hadith number 4, who will read this? Yes, brother.
Narrated Abu Huraira radiallahu anhu, Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, if any one of you performs ablution, he should put water in his nose and then blow it out. And whoever cleans his private parts with stones should do so with odd numbers. And whoever wakes up from his sleep should wash his hands before putting them in the water for ablution, because nobody knows where his hands were during sleep.
Okay, now this hadith mentioned 3 important topics, and I don't know if time would permit, but inshallah we'll try our best. First topic is the ruling on what is known as al-istinshaq wal-istinthar. What is the meaning of istinshaq? It's inhaling, and the hadith clearly states that whoever performs wudu, he should not inhale, blow. So how can I blow water before I? So this is understood from the hadith and from other hadiths. So part of washing the face is that you bring water and you inhale the water up your nostrils through breathing it, doing this. Of course, don't overdo it because you'll drown, but it is sufficient enough to enter the water into this area, and then you blow it using your breath again. And this is the sunnah. And the Prophet is telling us, alayhi salatu wasalam, that when you wake up, when you perform wudu, you should do this when doing the wudu. But before that, also in other hadiths, we have also rinsing the mouth, madmada. What is that? Getting water, putting it in your mouth and turning it around your mouth to clean whatever there is, and then spitting it out. So we have this rinsing, and we have inhaling and blowing your nose, part of the sunnah. The majority of scholars say that they are sunnah, not mandatory. Madhab Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal say that it is mandatory. Why? Because throughout the life of the Prophet ﷺ, never reported to us that he did not do it. On the contrary, in the hadith of Laqit ibn Sabrah, may Allah be pleased with him, the Prophet told him to exaggerate in rinsing your mouth and blowing your nose unless you are fasting. So he told him, exaggerate, baligh, do it a lot, which means that it is something that is mandatory. Now, the first part is the ruling on rinsing your mouth, inhaling the water and blowing it in wudu. Of course, we know part of the etiquettes that we do this when we wake up from sleep. We have to blow our nose 3 times when you wake up from sleep. And the Prophet told us, alayhi salatu wasalam, that the shaitan sleeps on your nostrils. So when you wake up, you inhale and blow the water 3 times so that you can remove all of these traces. The second part in the hadith, whoever cleans his private parts with stones should do so with odd numbers. Now people say, cleaning your private parts with stones, what is this? Are we living in a cave in Tora Bora? What are you talking about? Well, listen, this hadith was said when? How many centuries? 15 centuries ago. And where were the people in Europe or in the US or in the Far East? Did they have these luxuries what we have now? No. So this is how the people cleaned themselves. And to find a religion that tells you whenever you urinate or defecate, it is part of your worshipping Allah, that you cleanse yourself, you purify yourself, you clean yourself, I don't know of other religions. I know only about mine. But I can see by practice that people don't clean themselves. And if you work somewhere that is un-Islamic, in the laundry, it's a filthy job. But look at the underwears of people without being noticed, because then they will think that you're a pervert. But because this is your job, you go, we have to wash it. You'll find filth. Not with the Muslims. Never. The Muslims' underwears are always as clean as it can be. Why? Because it's part of religion. I cannot pray with traces of urine or traces of feces in my clothes. So Islam tells us that it is part of your religion to clean yourself. It is part of your religion to always be in top form. And part of that is, when you answer the call of nature, you purify yourself. And purifying yourself has two ways. Either by using hard substances such as stones, tissue, toilet papers, anything that is hard, or by washing it. And this is the top way of cleaning yourself, by using water. Now, it was reported in Sahih Imam Muslim that the Jews were making fun of Salman al-Farisi. May Allah be pleased with him. And they said, your prophet taught you everything, even how to defecate, even how to answer the call of nature. Where is this? They're making fun. They're saying that your prophet, even this, Salman did not even pay attention to them. He's teaching them our religion. He said, yes, the Prophet ﷺ forbade us from facing or giving our back to the Qibla, to the Kaaba, when answering the call of nature. And he told us not to touch our private parts with our right hand. And he forbade us from cleaning ourselves with our right hands, or to clean ourselves in less than 3 stones. And whenever we want to stop, we should make that on odd numbers. Islam is a religion that controls everything in your life. It tells you everything you need to know. So in this hadith, the Prophet ﷺ is telling us that when you use istijmar, which is hard substances, you should use it on what? On witr. What is the meaning of witr? Odd numbers. And what is the meaning of even numbers? Shafa' wa shaf'i wal watr. Witr is 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, etc. And Allah is witr, one who has no second. And that is why the Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, O people of the Quran, pray witr, because Allah is witr and He loves witr. So the Prophet is saying the Arabic word, وَمَنْ اسْتَجْمَرَ فَلْيُوتِرْ. Whoever uses hard substances, toilet paper, stones, etc., then he should use it in odd numbers. So if you clean yourself by 4 stones, use a 5th. If you clean yourself in 6 wipes using toilet papers, use the 7th. So you have to have it on that. Is it a must or not? It's recommended. It is not a must, it's recommended. What about water? If I wash myself, do I use also odd numbers? Scholars say no. Because water purifies by itself, it cleans by itself, and it's not a number of wipes, so you clean yourself with water. And when urinating, it's simply enough to pour water after you finish urinating. When you're defecating, it's different. You have to wipe, and you have to follow the sequence that we have just mentioned. And the last and third issue is that the Prophet tells us, whenever you wake up, you have to wash your hands before putting them into the bucket or the utensils. Now one would say, what is this? What is this? Before, centuries ago, people did not have faucets. They did not have tap water. What did they have? They used to fetch water from the well and put it in a container or in a bucket. So people use this water. The Prophet is telling us, when you wake up, do not insert your hands into the bucket. But before you do that, wash your hands from the bucket itself, not inside. And then once your hands are washed, you can do that and take from the bucket as much as you want. Why? The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, because you do not know where your hands spend the night. What? I know. Hands were there next to me. What do you mean? He said, no. You, while being asleep, you do not know where your hands go. You might touch your private parts, you might touch something that is impure, and this would not be wise. Pollute the water when inserting your hands. So is this the reason only? Yes, and there might be another reason, that you don't know what the shaitan did with your hands. We know that he sleeps on the people's nostrils. What does he do with their hands? We do not know. And that is why scholars say, what about if a person goes to bed and before he sleeps, he puts a glove and he ties the glove and he goes to sleep, and he wakes up, he takes off the glove. Does he have to wash his hands, or can he put his hands in? The scholars say the ruling stays as it is. The Prophet told you to wash your hands, you have to wash your hands. So this is approximately what we need to know. The most important thing is the issue of inhaling water and cleansing your nose by blowing it. We have a break. Stay tuned, inshallah. We'll be right back. Assalamu alaikum and welcome back. So, questions? Yes, we'll take one from here, one from there. Yes, brother.
Sheikh, it's related to the first hadith of intention. I just wanted to clarify with you, what is the ruling on combining intentions in ibadah? Because we have heard many of the scholars say that fard and mustahab cannot be combined. So I just wanted to know the general principle of combining intentions in ibadah.
Well, the general principle is that if a particular ibadah is supposed to be done in a certain fashion, and another ibadah that shares the exact motion and the exact movement and the exact name can be performed, both can be performed as one, and you get both rewards. For example, if I go to the masjid after the adhan of Fajr, I know that I cannot sit until I pray 2 rak'ahs for greeting the masjid, tahiyyat al-masjid. And I know that part of the sunnah is to pray 2 rak'ahs, sunnat al-fajr, the voluntary 2 rak'ahs of Fajr. So do I pray 2 plus 2? The scholars say no, pray 1. With the intention of sunnat al-fajr, the tahiyyat al-masjid is gone. How about if I have something to pray for Allah, for example, istikhara? So can I pray 2 rak'ahs, intending that this is for Fajr, and this is for tahiyyat al-masjid, and also this is for istikhara? There's no reason not to. The Prophet said, whenever one of you wants to do something, he should pray 2 rak'ahs other than the faridah. I'm not praying faridah, I'm praying nafil. So this means that I can do this as well. Likewise, in tawaf al-ifadah, which is a pillar of Hajj, they call it tawaf al-ifadah, tawaf al-ziyara, tawaf al-hajj, it's all the same thing. It's supposed to be on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, on the day of Eid, but you can have the option of doing it on the 11th, 12th and 13th. So if someone does not do it on the 10th, and before he moves out from the holy shrine, leaving, khalas, he finished everything, on the 12th or on the 13th, he offers tawaf al-ifadah and immediately leaves. Do we say, go back and do your tawaf al-wada', farewell tawaf? No, the tawaf al-wada' has been joined with tawaf al-ifadah because they have the same characteristics, etc. And that is why Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen, may Allah have mercy on his soul, said that the day of Arafah, if you fast it, how many years Allah forgives? 2 years. It's voluntary. He said that if you have days missed in Ramadan, and you fast the day missed in Ramadan, on Arafah, you get both rewards. 1 day of Ramadan has been fasted, and the 2 years of forgiveness also have been attained, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Yes, brother.
Assalamu alaikum. My question is regarding wudu. Regarding there some paint spot on your hand or something. Since I belong to construction industry in India, I have seen that most of the construction projects are in remote places. Indian working pattern, they do not sanction times for Salah. And Indian working laborers, they are not offered clothes as per international labor laws for providing them masks, body cover, all. There are thousands of labor who work for painting the big sheds and all, and they have a lot of sprays of paint on them. And the schedule is very tight, and the laborers are also very poorly paid. So how can they match, like removing each and every stain, and it will cost them the job and all, everything.
This, Akhi, this is an issue of belief. A worker, no matter how low his salary is, and no matter how difficult conditions are, and no matter how rigid the rules and regulations regarding taking a break, he has to set up his priorities. As a Muslim, what is your priority? To pray. As a Muslim, what is your priority? To obey Allah. If something else is telling you not to pray, or not to obey Allah, or not to do what Allah commands you to do, who do you follow? This answer would give you an indication what will happen to this individual on the Day of Judgment. We have to set the record straight by us Muslims being the top of our fields, our profession, whether we're laborers, whether we're professionals, doctors, engineers. By being the top, we can ask for favors. But if we're lazy, if we're not doing our job on time or in the best of quality, then when we ask people to give us 5 minutes break to pray, they will not give us. Well, tough luck. You have to stop and pray, and you have to clean yourself, because this is the religion of Allah Azza wa Jal. If you give in, if you surrender, if you're weak, if you compromise your religion, this will happen in fasting. You're not allowed to fast. Oh, I have to work, I will skip fasting. This will happen with your hijab. If you're a sister, take off the hijab. This would happen with your modesty. You have to compromise. Your boss likes you if you're a woman, or your boss is a woman, and you have to do this, you have to do that. When do you draw the line? When do you say that, no, I can't, this is my religion? You have to know where things have to be done, and inshallah, whenever there's a will, there's a way. Whenever you have full trust in Allah and you depend on Him, Allah will make a way out for you, as Allah says in the Quran, وَمَن يَتَّقِ اللَّهِ يَجْعَلْ لَهُ مَخْرَجًا. Whoever fears Allah, Allah will make a way out for him. Not only that, وَيَرْزُقْهُ مِنْ حَيْثُ لَا يَحْتَسِبْ, and He will grant him provisions from sources he was not anticipating. This is in the Quran. Now says, yes, but I get my check from my manager. You get your check from Allah. Depend on Him, and He will give you all what you need, and Allah knows best. Yes, brother.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh.
Salam.
You just mentioned about fasting, a missed fast in Ramadan on the day of Arafah, and getting the benefit of both. Just kind of a question related to this, that if I entered the masjid when the Ahkaam has been given for the Fajr prayer, and it's Fard, so can I have the intention of praying the greeting of the masjid along with the Fajr? Or, if it's a Fard act which I'm doing, I can't combine it with anything else.
True. With Fard, you cannot combine anything else. Therefore, if you go to Fajr prayer and the Iqamah is given, can I pray? I've seen a lot of the brothers here in masjids, when the Imam is reading in the first rak'ah of Fajr, they don't join. They go and pray 2 rak'ah sunnah of Fajr. Their prayer is invalid. and they're sinful. The Prophet said, ﷺ, whenever the prayer has been called for, there is no prayer except the faridah, the one that is being prayed. After you finish Fajr, pray your 2 rak'ahs of Sunnah. But to join intentions with the faridah, no. Fajr is Fajr. You cannot combine to it any other prayer. Yes, brother.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. While watching news channel or any channel which is going wrong,
Okay.
say for example, if we are watching news channel, the news anchor will, chances are there that anchor is lady.
Okay.
So,
Okay, I get your question. The brother is asking, by looking to the opposite sex, does this nullify my wudu? And this is one of the beauties of fiqh, is once you master something, you don't need someone to tell you. While we will take, inshallah, we will learn that the things that nullify wudu are the 5 that I've mentioned to you. Passing wind, urinating, defecating, or anything that comes out of your private parts. Sleeping and eating camel's meat. So, if someone says, okay Sheikh, what's the ruling on smoking? Does it nullify my wudu? Talk to the hand. Meaning, these are the 5. Is smoking there? No. Talk to the hand. Then that does not mean smoking is halal. Okay, alhamdulillah, if it doesn't nullify wudu, give me a cigarette. No, it's haram. But it does not affect your wudu. One says, okay Sheikh, I performed wudu, but I wasn't wearing any clothes. I was in the bathroom alone, I was nude, I performed wudu. Does this not nullify my wudu? No. One says, what about touching women? Does this nullify wudu? This is something of dispute among scholars. But we will come to that, and the most authentic opinion is not. Okay, what about touching my private parts? Again, this is something that is an issue of dispute among scholars. We will come to that. So, by knowing these things, anything else that comes in, you can easily answer yourself. And to answer your question, yes, looking and watching or seeing something of the opposite sex is not permissible unless under the guidelines and exceptions that we have in our religion. But watching a film or watching a TV series, and this is not permissible. However, it does not affect your wudu. Unless you see something so exciting that something comes out of your body, you discharge something, this in case falls under the 5 categories, and then you have to offer wudu. I'm afraid that this is all the time we have. Until we meet next time, bi amanillah, wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.